Hey guys, welcome back. Hope you had a good day in the market. It's November 18th, Tuesday. Yeah, Tuesday. We're going to review 0-day options today. I took on SPY and the small account challenge. It keeps getting smaller. IV's pumped up. I don't usually do as well with pumped up IV. So yeah, here we are. Pretty big gap down today. We did end up closing or filling the gap, but gap down. I think at one point in the day we're down like 1.5%. The range is large. We've got over 10 points, I think, almost on the top. No, just under 10 points. So there's definitely some moves in here. I think a lot of the trades, the bigger moves today were zombie trades or retracement trades, which can be tricky. Especially when it's a big range day and there's big candles and IV is high, because your contracts can just get wrecked so quickly. 30% goes pretty fast. A lot of these candles, or a lot of the larger candles, are 1 point just in themselves. So let's see, 694, 660, 59. Yeah, that's almost 1 point, just that candle right there. So definitely an opportunity to make big money on days like today too. But yeah, it's almost higher IV. It's a good reason to size down, and then just not being concerned with catching the whole move. Just happy with small moves, which I feel like for the most part today. It is a red day for me though. Let's review. So this morning with this gap down, here's Eric's 30-minute chart. He's SPY day trading on YouTube. Link for his Discord's in the description. So we completed this inverse cup basically at open. Yeah, at open we've completed that. We were in the green selling that he has charted here for first half of the day. There's another larger inverse cup down here, which we actually did end up completing also. But yeah, gap down, and without breaking the green, buying, it's tricky to try and go long. Even for retracement trades, it can just trap you. First algos, first channels I charted, I think this purple one. Yeah, I knew IV was high. I knew the range was large. Even just this morning range, it looks small, but it's big. 661, 663.8. Yeah, that's crazy. That's almost 4 points. They're almost 3 points. Just this one candle. Yeah, 2.5 points. So even though it looks like a tight range, it's large. So you gotta be careful for sure. So I charted this purple one right here, and then I was trying to look for what was the bearish controlled buying. I ended up with this red, based on I think I got it from right here. Yeah, kind of this support, this resistance, then flip to this resistance on the retest. You can kind of see it. I think I got it from here, maybe adjusted a little bit, but then it ended up lining up here for a little more confirmation with these supports, and then flipping into resistance right here. So I didn't take any trades there. The first trade, so I had red, I had purple, I had white. I wasn't too sure about white though. And then I had this orange precision selling, this kind of steep selling here. And the first trade I considered taking, which I could have, it would have been a scalp, but I actually did really consider it, was this one right here. Was it there? No, it wasn't there. No, it wasn't there. So here I completed the inverse cup, and then basically just a little handle here. This orange wasn't here at that time. Yeah, I hadn't charted that orange. So we just had selling in this orange to the downside, not this other one. And so then I'm looking for red to build liquidity, potentially white, but I wasn't sure about white yet. Yeah, it was right here. Okay, so it was just steep selling, and then it started to build a little liquidity. So I charted in the white as well as the red here. It broke through it, and then it started to bounce a little bit, a little more liquidity, did it again. Found orange's resistance, as you see, as well as red. So potentially an entry for puts right here on the rejection of that prior support. Or you see down here, it broke it and then retested. Retested top of the orange. Well, the orange wasn't drawn there at that point, but retested this white, and then this one came up and retested that red one also. So this is the spot right here where I considered getting puts, and it would have been a fine trade. Just real tight range, would have been scalpy. Yeah, I mean the contracts were expensive, so didn't take it, which is okay. It ended up being a nice move. You know, doesn't always work that way when it's such a tight range. I had orange for the precision selling and for a clear stop, which definitely helps with managing the trade. I'm still on delayed data on E-Trade. I need to move this stuff over. It's kind of ridiculous. 1018. So my first trade was a nice green trade, and I should have just won and done it today. Like, and it's such a weird trade that when I took 1018, I got a call. So as it came down here, let's see, 656, basically 657. Where's that on there? 657. Yeah, so we'd already completed that, one of the 30-minute cups. I'm looking for a retracement, zombie trade. Considered on the break of this orange. I didn't though. Excuse me. Because this could just do what it did here when it broke the orange and keep coming down. However, oftentimes it will do this exact thing right here. So it'll retest that bullish controlled buying algo, and that's where you can take your long. So usually if you miss the trade, you can be patient and you'll get a retest of some sort, and that's what this is. And so actually I went long, I think, like right here. Yeah, 1018. So I got it on this candle. A little nervous about it, definitely a little nervous. These candles are large, volatility was crazy, and it kind of wicked down below, and I was like, I don't know, but this should, if as long as it holds above here, that's kind of my stop right there, is orange. And yeah, it did end up working out. So 1018, and since it was a zombie trade or a retracement trade, I was very quick on profits. I wanted it to VWAP. I wanted it to be to the resistance of orange here or the red here. But I wasn't sure if I was going to continue to do this action right here again, you know, build more liquidity down here and keep testing this orange. So I opened it here, I closed it right here, because that literally has to be my first point of resistance, is the white here, in case, because it broke the white and it could be coming up to just retest it before it comes down further. So I didn't get the whole move. I got about half of it up to VWAP. This did go up another, I don't know, 30% from there. But that trade was fine. It's 129 to 156. So for the small account, that's not too bad. Just one contract. This candle's like, why would you close it here? Yeah, I mean, it definitely was stalling out there for a long time. If you look on the 10-second chart or whatever, it was just hanging out there, and I was like, I should probably just take my profits here. I got a nice entry. Yeah, it did break purple, but again, white to me was the first resistance. Next one would be red here, and then orange, and of course we got VWAP too, and it did end up working out like that. So first one was green. I was happy about it. It's like, all right. And then next one was red, 1037, looking for puts. So came up and rejected here, but did start to kind of build liquidity and started to kind of make a wider range. I mean, these candles are large, 658, 7, 659. So yeah, these are 1 point candles in here. So you really need to just hold on to your saddle there for that ride. Not something I really desire. Even entering puts here on the resistance of red or orange. This thing is going up. So anyways, I did though. Where did I get it? It came down, broke that white. And then we have red and orange selling in full. Did a little bit of selling right here in the orange, that other orange. Sorry, there are two different colors of orange. Whoops. Well, but yeah, you can see the steeper selling right here. So you've got a nice head and shoulders. with a rejection on VWAP, and on the 30-minute, it was just building liquidity, traveling across to the other side of basically this downward trend. So it had this steep sell-off. So at this point, we're just sitting here waiting to retest green to see if we break it or continue to flush. And somewhere around here, it did come down because you see the wick. And I think that's what this is right here. So where did I enter this trade? 37 to 41. Yeah, it was just big moves. Yeah, right here. So broke the red, and I got it on the retest right here on this candle. I can't remember where exactly. And then I closed it on this big green candle. So yeah, I could have had purple for my stop. I had red. Yeah, in hindsight, it's like, oh, it's obvious. Here's the top of this shoulder. Here's that shoulder. Yeah. Yeah. Could have been. I should have probably drawn a horizontal level there too, just to kind of help me out. And then maybe I would have been more patient not taking it here. That's the thing. Once it breaks here, it gives me a little retest. I want to get in, but the range up to my stop there is large, like just big, especially since I'm so close to low of day, which is could very well be your first take profit. And if you only have one contract, that is your take profit. This white line wasn't here at that point. So looking at it now, yeah, a little patience. I guess because it grabbed liquidity too soon is what Eric would say. That's why I needed to make this little mini head and shoulders, which I actually did it twice here and then here. If it hadn't grabbed it so soon, maybe over here, it would have been able to just flush through. I'm not quite able to determine what I consider something grabbing it too soon. I don't know where he gets that from. Maybe I have to ask him. What constitutes this as being too soon to grab it? Yeah, I don't know. Maybe because it's too close to a support, which I didn't have, and I really don't know. So anyways, yeah, that's what stopped me out. It's good I stopped out there. I could have, of course, jumped back in with purple as my resistance, as well as this horizontal shoulder here. You can imagine with the 1 point candles and the volatility, it was, yeah, I don't think I got back in there. No, I didn't. So that was 157 to 143. Not a crazy loss because I had a pretty good entry on that, but this big candle definitely screwed me. Next one was a bigger loss. I can't tell what these losses are, which is kind of good, but it's also kind of bad because they're going against me fast. And since I can't see the pricing on it, it's, I don't know. So 151 to 1051 to 1052. And it puts again. Yeah. So then I ended up still going for it. Exact same thing here. So breaking the final orange, it retests here on the green. Also completes the inverse, this inverse cup. So I'm getting it here. It comes up over the orange. I'm like, dang. And so I close it on this candle. I think probably breaking the purple at this point, because I'm like, well, I'll wait for it to break the purple. It fully broke the purple, ended up wicking. This would have stopped me out though, if nothing else, unless if I'm holding for this level up here, which my risk reward on that's not great because I didn't have this line down here at that point because yeah, I didn't see this yet. So yeah, with taking profit potentially low a day, I mean, given this a big candle, so I wouldn't have taken it here. Probably I most likely would have been able to hold out a little bit longer. Doing that now, of course, but at this point, if I'm opening here, I don't want to be stopping way up here just for profit right to there. So the risk reward there it wasn't there for this chop. I guess if I had a better entry up here, this is just tricky with these huge candles. This was a nice entry. You got just perfect horizontal shoulder resistance right there, as well as purple as resistance. Hadn't broken through orange though, which was a little unnerving, but oftentimes it'll do this. Just build liquidity on orange, showing you who's in control that's buying right here, or it gets dumped. Yeah, so that was a red trade there. I say 137 to, was that one? Yeah, 137 to 119. So that was a pretty ugly one. And then the next trade was at 1105 to 1107. These are puts. So it did end up coming down. I didn't have this white at that point still, just because I'm not, yeah. So there's a larger inverse cup that I don't think necessarily Can't remember if it closed here or not today. But I was kind of seeing that as potential for a target. Anyways, after it broke here, it's a tricky one. So then I'm waiting for it to retest low of day on the break, or retest the purple, right? So a break and retest, and it failed. It just didn't work. It's 1105, 1107. So I got it on this candle right here, and yeah, so getting close to the low of day. Comes up, and I'm like, all right, I should really just hold it and make sure it's, you know, it's not gonna resist low of day. So I didn't close it till this candle. So this was a pretty ugly close, you can imagine. 175 to 145. Yeah, it was nasty. And then you have a nice zoomy trade with this inverse head and shoulders. And then I charted this white, which was also resistance here. I didn't see it anywhere sooner. I guess up here you could have it as a resistance. I wasn't really seeing that. I bet Arrogant Emperor probably had that one early on. And so yeah, nice little trade here. Rejected the top of this channel. Thought about puts there. I'm glad I didn't, because I was just like, you know, I'm gonna leave it. I think I was then thinking, all right, 2 red trade, then you take an hour break or something. I have that in one of my notes, my rules, like 2 hour, 1 hour, 2 hour with 2 red trades. Then a nice little inverse head and shoulders here for break of the white. What I should have caught though, and what I even saw, yeah. I guess I get kind of complacent. I don't know how else to describe it. Because you really have to have just a crazy level of focus, and kind of game face, and when you're trading like this. So if you're a little sloppy or lazy or kind of lackadaisical, it'll just slap you. So anyways, breaking the white here. At this point, I didn't follow myself too much, because this white I wasn't too sure of yet, really, because it just had these 2 points here. I did put it up here, and I was like, all right, that's kind of an interesting resistance. I hadn't seen it up here yet, so I wasn't too confident in it at this point. But I did see this cup closing, but had a nice little retest right here where you could have gone long. I didn't see where I'd manage my risk either on that. I guess on the red, well, not really. So it just so happened that this made a nice rally up. It very well could have just grinded down this thing for a while, even if it was going to go up. So that's where I didn't know where to manage my risks. I guess, yeah, this line, I suppose, which wasn't here at that point. I should have drawn this. You draw more horizontal lines. Yeah, this could have been my stop on this liquidity, all this liquidity down here. So anyways, this trade right here could have been a nice one. Getting it breaking here, potentially. I didn't have orange at that point, because then you see it broke back up into orange and retested it here, which was also nice. I think where I even got orange from. Where did it originate? I think here. These resistances, and then this support flipped into resistance. I can't remember exactly though. That one I maybe got a little help from Eric or Emperor, I'm not sure. But then I did start to see it. Well, I saw it here on these supports. Anyways, yeah, little retest on that. Could have worked, but the problem with that is that's a tight range up to white, which is where you need to take your profit. So then this retest is nice. And then it kind of perfectly resisted it here, and then just kind of went through it. They're called it, what, scatter plot or whatever. So it's still building liquidity in that algo, but it's not technically underneath it. So still bullish, however, it hadn't completed the cup. So this is a lot like how yesterday was, and then it sold off. But I wasn't considering that for yesterday. See, like right here, didn't complete the cup, was building bullish looking liquidity. This is where I got trapped yesterday. Went with calls, then it flipped. So I need to flip back to puts because it's a little head and shoulders, and it's a nice risk reward because you're right on your stop. So thought that might be happening today, but regardless of any of that, it was all we'd been. This could still be a bear flag basically. So Yeah, and it did end up doing that actually. But I didn't see any little micro head and shoulder here. Actually, I think I took a long there. Did I? Where's my next trade? No, I didn't. And then beautifully, you see this thing come down and make a nice inverse head and bounce perfectly on this white, which, yeah, I had charted before and I even saw it. And when it's coming up to it though, I'm just, yeah, it was at that point, it's still a zombie trade because we're still in a wedge. And yeah, you don't know it's going to make that crazy of a move out of that. You have managed risk there, but it's on a descending line for one, which kind of sucks. I guess you could have thrown red in. I don't know why is it down there. Oh, it's from later. Yeah, I could have thrown red in. Could have thrown the precision green in and just used that to manage risks, I suppose. Might have been a little complacent at this point in the day. Maybe a little sloppy, a little lazy, a little distracted. Who knows? Once it did break white here, though, I was prepared for this, and it just didn't give me the setup. So I had an alert for here, and it broke it, and I was waiting for the retest, and it never retested. It retested kind of this liquidity right here, which rejected, but it never retested this white, and I'm fine to be picky. If it helps me to trade less and just trade better, that's fine. I missed out on this, which isn't too bad. This is a pretty grindy climb anyways up to complete the full-size cup. And then the last, whatever, 3 hours was pretty disgusting. Yeah, let me show you my last trade here. On the small account. Yeah, this last trade was quite red again. 144 to 148 on calls. Let's see, what was I thinking? Well, I completed the cup. I know I was thinking that. Yeah, I was on this breakout, I think. It was on the retest. The retest? Yeah, I think so. In hindsight, some of my trades, I'm like, what was I thinking? But sometimes I've moved my lines and stuff. It was at the beginning of this candle, must have been. Yeah, it was at the very beginning of this candle. So I saw, of course, this potential head with a shoulder. However, to me, it was a cup with bad structure, which was a first sign for me, which I didn't like. There's a nice liquidity for a shoulder, but there wasn't a nice head. But it did break out, and then I was getting it on the retest, which was right here. This candle was retesting, and then it flushed. I'm like, oh, dang. So this is where I'd say today is more of a chop day. It's a large range and huge candles, but more or less, it's not really a continuation type day, even though there's good trades. But it didn't go anywhere, right? We're kind of just stayed stuck in this range. So lack continuation there on that cup and handle. And so that was the ugly stop. That was 113 to 89. So and today ended up being a max loss day, which I'm so glad I put that in. As long as it's not making me try and get to that. If you watch my other video, a part of me felt like I was trying to trade to get to that point if I was already kind of red, just so I could stop trading. But then to counter that, I was thinking, I tried to turn it more into a game and trying to basically come up from whatever I was red. As silly and simple as that sounds. Gotta play tricks with your mind to get it to do what you want, I guess, something like that. So delayed data, yeah. So today, yeah, those are the trades. Yeah, 59. So I'm thinking maybe one and done tomorrow. It's not even like I traded that much. This is kind of just the nature of the high IV, as well as yeah, because I didn't have, like, compared to other days, there's really only a couple trades. I just would have to hold them longer today just because the range was so large, and then my entries weren't right. You know, like on some of them, entering here, like I don't want my stop to be way up here. If I do, then I need to just wait. I can't enter it here. I just have to wait till it gets closer. So yeah, high IV, you need to scale down, try and trade less. I feel like I didn't trade too much today. But that brings me to this account. I did a couple on the big, and for whatever reason I felt pretty free on the big one and loose, which is good. So I had a couple nice trades. I could tell today was not a continuation day. Just based on this chop that we were getting up here. lack continuation to the downside. I mean, we definitely sold off a lot, but it didn't continue. Not going to be a full body candle on the daily, basically. So that gave me a little inclination to trade it. So let me show you some of these. Could have traded this even tighter, actually. Let's see, 239. I got 2 calls. Why did I do that? Yeah. Yeah, well, still looking for the handle. So liquidity being built. I think I had the precision here. Yeah, I took it off. So my white is what I'm looking for it to break. It does break it here. This shows you how quick and just how loose and how free I was to just kind of do whatever. I wasn't trying to wait for a retest. I got this thing basically right at the beginning. Once I saw it was opening there, this had closed up here. I jumped on it. I had my precision green there at that time. Came up, hit high of day. I'm like, I should just cut one because I had 2. Cut one, and that was like 845 to 1120. So that's sick returns. Put a break even stop on the other one just in case I had continuation, and it didn't, so it stopped out. Could have closed both, but yeah, I don't need to do that. Next trade, this one I'm even more pleased about because this one I talked about yesterday, how I want to start doing this, and I decided to try it today. And it worked. It's not like it's always going to work, but so I basically front ran. I just anticipated the breakout at 259. 259, I got 2 SPX calls. It's for 760. Yeah, right here on this candle. So basically same deal. Completed then this cup and built liquidity with white. I put white up here. I see it bouncing on red also. Considered it on the red bounce, but yeah, I just wasn't quite into it at that point. So started to climb up. The candles were looking, it's hard to tell now, but you could tell there was some velocity in those candles, even though they weren't full bodied yet. Just the way they're moving, it looked like there was volume. You could see volume on that 3 o'clock candle. But yeah, this 259 candle, actually I jumped in right here for the break of this white. And the one reason why this was really a green, well, maybe it could have been green, but this was such a tight range from a break of this white to high of day. As you see, like that would have been too difficult to manage. Especially because, yeah, my stop there too, it would have been on the precision green, but it's just, yeah, it's too tight of a range. So anyways, I jumped in on this one early, anticipating that break because of just the way it looked, the bounce on magenta. I liked all of that. And I almost closed it on the resistance here. In fact, did I or no? Yeah, I think I closed it basically as quick as I could and it ended up being right where I wanted to, which was high a day. So that was 760 to 950. So another sick percentage on that. Happy about that. And then I just did a break even again on the second one, which I think on this candle it broke. Or no, I had a little more room because like I got that better entry. Yeah, closed on that one. And glad I didn't trade the end of day. I considered it like breaking this red. I was like, oh, we should get it, but look at this. This is ugly, ugly. Yeah. So green on the big account, but small account, it's just yeah. I got to be more patient. I think today if I was more patient and I was content to let trades go, I would have done better. Thank you guys so much for your support. Sub up, like up, comment down. Happy money sticks around. See you tomorrow. Peace out.